So tonight I wanted to focus on the upcoming full moon that we have. We have a full moon in just a few days' time on Tuesday here in Australia, Tuesday the 21st of September. And for those of you that might follow the witch path or the Wiccan path, we have the Sabbath of spring equinox the day after the full moon as well, on the 22nd of September. So a really beautiful, very powerful kind of energy that we're really coming into next week. Welcome, Brianna. So I thought it'd be really lovely just to do a little Facebook Live. I like to try and catch the Friday night just before the full moon to be able to talk a little bit about it, hopefully help you to find some inspiration and some focus for yourself for the full moon too, because I always find it's a real potent time of the month, so it can be really good to do something, whether that's magical like a spell or a ritual, or whether it's just something spiritual, you know, like doing some meditation or something like that. It can be really positive time of the month. Hi Sandra, thanks for joining me, honey. So yeah, next Tuesday the 21st of September here in Melbourne, Australia, it'll be at 9:54 a.m. And if you are somewhere else in the world, I try to look up a couple of places. London and New York is usually my standard other places that I share. It is also on Tuesday the 21st in London, and that will be just after midnight, so that'll be about 54 minutes past midnight, so very early in the morning for them. Or if you're in New York, it'll actually be the day before, on the 20th of September at 7:54 p.m. in the evening. So there's a really great website called timeanddate.com, and it is a great place that you can look up what time the full moon is, or the new moon, or whatever like astrology event that you might be looking for. It'll tell you what the time is. It'll ask you where it is that you are, and it'll actually adjust the time for you. So if you're never quite sure, that's a really great place to have a look, is timeanddate.com. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Brianna. Oh, and Laurie, great to have you here from New York. Wonderful. Thank you. I love that with our Facebook Lives that we can connect all around the world. It's like this wonderful big community and connection. It's really beautiful. So this coming full moon will actually be in the sign of Pisces. And I really love Pisces full moons myself, although we don't tend to be very grounded through a Pisces full moon, and I realise that full moons in general we don't tend to be super grounded for, but Pisces full moon is one of those ones that I find we don't tend to be grounded at all. So you can tend to be off in the clouds, you can tend to be more tuned in with like all your guides and maybe deceased loved ones, the fairies, all those wonderful kind of very high vibrational type energies. You can tend to be more tuned in with that. You might tend to be more tuned in with daydreaming and imagining and visualization, rather than having your feet flat on the floor and being focused on, you know, being logical and practical and organized and all those sorts of things. So know that that can be occurring already for you now, but we'll certainly have a build up of energy like this across the next few days in the lead up to this full moon. So you might start to experience that already, but especially on the full moon itself. But we usually feel that, you know, in the days around the full moon too. It's not just exclusively on that one day. So there's of course things that we can do every full moon, no matter what sign it falls in. So that's things like make sure you get your crystals out in the moonlight to charge up under that beautiful energy. Whether you put them outside directly or whether you put them like on windowsills and places like that, so that they're not necessarily out in the elements, because we do have some crystals that don't like to be directly in the you know, water and rain, things like that. So you know, you might prefer to do windowsills, or have a window that you can actually leave open and have all your crystals assembled, you know, in that window. which can be a really great way to do it. Or you could put them in plastic containers. There's so many options that you could do, you know, where you can actually, it's a clear container you can see through as well. Oh yes, Brianna, I'm not surprised that your dreams are going crazy. That tends to happen especially around the Pisces energy. It really connects us to our dreams and our intuition. So yeah, we tend to have more stranger dreams around this Pisces energy too. We can also do things like making moon water. That's really easy to do. Essentially just having, I usually like to use a glass jar that I fill up with water and put out under the full moon itself so that it can charge up. It's good to have it as a sealed container so that, you know, we don't get any things kind of falling into it overnight while it's charging up. But if you're a bit unsure, I also have a little video on making moon water on our YouTube channel as well, Mystical Dragon's YouTube channel. Meditation, divination, getting out and moon gazing. I love to use it as it's a bit of a prompt to actually refresh and clean and clear up your altar as well. So that way, you know, every month we're making sure our altar is kind of clean and tidy and not getting all dusty and terrible. So it can be a good time to do that just before the full moon as well. Yeah, I love moon water too, Sandra, because you can use it as a basis for so many different things, and even just being able to drink it, it tastes so much nicer than normal water as well. So definitely great to create some moon water at the full moons. Now we can also, this is a potent time for all spell work, for all magic, ritual, manifesting, meditation, clearing, healing, because the full moon amplifies all energy. So you can do any of that sort of work, and I'm going to talk about some of the key energies that really connect with the Pisces full moon energy. But certainly if that's not calling to you and you're feeling I really need to do this particular other work and make this a focus, then don't feel like you can't, because you certainly can. It'll still be really potent to do any kind of healing work or magical work or manifesting work that you're feeling guided to do. The Pisces specifically is very connected to clairvoyance, to dream work, to intuition, to inspiration, to compassion, to peace, to improving our imagination or being able to visualize. It's connected to being creative, to things like music, to being able to see the big picture. It's also very connected to healing rituals for our feet, and our lymph glands are especially potent at this time because Pisces connects to those. But I also find it a really potent time to do healing around the heart and our emotions. So any kind of work that we need to do on that level, it's really potent around the Pisces full moon too. I'm not surprised, Sandy. I'm not surprised as a Piscean that you're already feeling all of these things already. You guys tend to be a bit extra sensitive to all of this as well. So I've mentioned a whole bunch of key areas that you could really focus on that will be extra potent at this full moon. There's a couple that I'm going to focus on in particular. So clairvoyance, intuition and dream work tends to be a really big area that I personally focus on at the Piscean full moons, because like I said, I don't find I'm very grounded at these times, so I find that's a really great area to be able to focus on and work with. So you might decide that that's something you'd like to focus on at this time too. So we can work with crystals that really connect with that. So things like your crystals, like your purples and your blue crystals, are the ones that are going to really help to amplify all the intuitive side of things, as well as like more of your clear colored crystals. So that's things like your amethyst, your lepidolite's going to be great. Lapis lazuli is going to be wonderful. Iolite is another good one. Blue apatite is another great one. Apophyllite is a good one. Clear quartz is a really good one. So all of these crystals will really help to raise your vibration and help you to work on those intuitive levels for whatever it is that you're planning that you'd like to do. I find essential oils like frankincense and sandalwood are really great at helping to raise our vibration too. All the better if you can get your hand on sacred frankincense. That's my very favorite frankincense to work with. But normal frankincense will work really well too. Both of those oils will really help to uplift your vibration, and I always find that they really help to connect me very much upwards and with my intuition as well. So something you might really want to make as more of a focus at this full moon is doing divination. And certainly you can use any of the tools that you feel called to. So if you really love your tarot, or you really love your oracle cards, or you love your runes, or your pendulum, or whatever tool it is that is your go-to tool, or you might have a few tools, certainly whichever one, is going to work really well around this full moon. But I like to kind of put a little bit of ritual with that as well. So as in, don't just pull them out and have a go at them, but kind of create that space to work within with whatever tool that you're guided to. So, you might light some candles, you might use some incense, you might decide to perhaps smudge the room that you're going to use first to just help, set the scene and create that space. Create the right mood with the right lighting for you as well. All of those kind of things, pulling out some of those intuitive crystals that I mentioned, doing a meditation beforehand, kind of create a beautiful little ritual around doing your divination, rather than just pulling perhaps your cards out and starting to do something where we're looking ahead or asking for guidance in a certain area. It just kind of helps. I always find it really gets me in that right frame of mind as well. Gets me kind of tuned into that magical me side of things, which can be really good. So think about doing that perhaps. Also, of course, we can do spells and ritual work around actually growing our intuition at this time too. I have a number of spells that are focused on that. That's on Mystical Dragon's online book of shadows on our website, mysticaldragon.com.au. I think there's about 4 in there now. So, I'm sure you'd be able to find a really good one in there if you're really thinking you'd like to do a spell around that. And I'm also going to share one of those spells on Mystical's Facebook page. Probably I'll share it tomorrow and then again on Tuesday, so that you can prepare if you want to. And that was the spell that we focused on in our full moon box for September, for those that got the full moon box too. Just as a hint, purple candles are really good to connect us if we're doing spell work around intuition and growing our intuition. So you might want to charge up perhaps a purple candle with that intent. You could use some of the oils I've mentioned, combine it with some of the crystals, create your own little spell or your own little ritual to invoke some of that energy. Working with divinities like Goddess Isis is one of my favorites, or also known as Goddess or Set. She's one of my favorites when I'm doing any kind of intuitive work. Goddess Bast is another really good one, especially if you want to do some divination. She's a great one to call on to assist you with your divination and working with opening up your psychic gifts. I also love working with Goddess Hecate as well. She's a really beautiful, that crone energy, that wise and wisdom energy that can help to connect us with our intuition and looking for guidance and looking ahead. And Goddess Psyche is another really great one to work with as well when we're working on an intuitive level. So you could call on one of those goddesses as well and just simply ask them for their help and their energy to assist you in opening our intuition. I also, when I do any of that kind of work, I like to ask that my intuition kind of opens in a way that I can cope with really easily as well. Because sometimes if all of that happens a bit too fast, it can be a little bit overwhelming for us, with too much going on those levels. So, make sure that you also kind of add in things like, please do help to open me intuitively, and perhaps to be able to see or to hear more clearly, or whatever it is you'd really love them to perhaps focus on, but to do it in a really safe way where I feel really safe and comfortable and feel really happy with how it's all unfolding for me too. So that can be really good to kind of add that in when you do that kind of work and have that kind of focus. And of course, when we're focused on like intuition and clairvoyance and even dream work, doing meditation is always going to be really good. So do some meditation where you're particularly perhaps connecting to one of the divinities I've mentioned, and have a conversation with them, perhaps seeking guidance around, what are some good things I can be doing to help open my intuition, to help grow my intuition. Or connecting with your spirit guides, that beautiful team of support that we all have around us. Or even, working with higher self. Or there's lots of guided meditations that are out there too that will help you with, being able to open and work with your intuition and that intuitive flow as well. Now, if you're particularly wanting to kind of focus on dream work at this time, that's a really great focus too, which also works on that intuitive level, because our dreams are connected with clairvoyance, so that clear seeing channel. And I find that swan is a really powerful energy. It's like an animal guide energy that can really assist us with dream work. So if you're finding your dreams are really crazy, you could actually ask Swan to help you in perhaps understanding and interpreting what the messages are that are trying to come through from your dreams. Or if you find, I'm not a big dreamer, I pay attention when I do remember my dreams, but if you wanted to perhaps remember your dreams more easily or more often, you could actually work with someone like Swan Energy, or even some of the other divinities I've mentioned, and ask specifically for, please help me to remember my dreams, please help me to understand my dreams. So that can be really powerful as well. Know that when we do that kind of work, sometimes we have to ask a few times. It's like that intent and that energy will build up. So you might find you want to do it over a couple of nights before you really feel the impact, and feel the shift. Sometimes it can happen really quickly, but sometimes I find it might take a few nights of requesting that. So you could even start tonight if you wanted to. And once again, with dream work, it really helps with setting the space. So, if you can burn some essential oils or incense to create that beautiful space, kind of be able to wind down before you even get into bed. Have some of those crystals like amethyst or lepidolite that will help you with that dream and that intuitive side. Do you know what I mean? Like, create that beautiful ritual, create that space that will really help you slip into that space. And of course, with dream work too, it's really important. For dream journal, you need to have something you can jot this stuff down when you first wake up, because you're not guaranteed to remember it even half an hour after you've got up. It kind of starts to slip away because it is from that intuitive space. So it's not necessarily, here for a long period of time, or something that you'll retain in your conscious mind for a very long period of time. So be aware of that. Dream journal is very important if you're going to do that kind of work as well. Probably the other main area I tend to focus on around the Pisces full moon is that healing of emotions and healing heart, and really being aware of all that heart stuff and emotional stuff. And so you might find that already is coming up to the surface. It's already, making itself known, because we do tend to be more sensitive around this Piscean energy. So, you might be called to make that a focus, because you've got a bit that's kind of being really, you're being really aware of and really starting to notice. So when we're doing any of that work around the heart and the emotions, some of the crystals that are really helpful for us is like rose quartz is one of those number one crystals that I tend to go for. You probably want to focus on your pink or your green colored crystals. So some of the others might be like your pink calcite's a really beautiful soft energy to work with. Cambaba jasper, ocean jasper, malachite is another lovely one, or aventurine. Unakite has got that combination of pink and green in it as well, so it can be a really beautiful one to support you through big emotional stuff. And one that's outside of that colour range but can be really supportive if you're going through a lot on an emotional level is also moonstone. And moonstone's a beautiful crystal. Rainbow moonstone's my favourite version of it, but moonstone is a beautiful crystal to work with at the full moons, when we are more sensitive generally at each full moon, and it can help us to understand our emotions and support us through a lot of emotional stuff, but also assist us on those intuitive levels, bringing through some of that spiritual guidance and those sorts of things. So that can be a really great crystal to reach for at this time as well. As part of that whole healing around the heart and healing on the emotional side of things, I tend to kind of feel called to focus on self-care as part of that. It's like when we're going through all of that stuff and when it's really highlighted for us, we need to really take care of ourselves. So you might find you need to actually slow down a bit and focus on, you know, some of that self-care stuff that makes you kind of feel good, that makes you feel a little bit nurtured. So whether that's making sure you perhaps go out for a walk when the weather's nice, or perhaps, you know, schedule a few extra baths so that you've got time to kind of soak and just unwind and relax, or make time to read that book or get out in the garden, or whatever it is that kind of speaks to you about putting back into you, that's really helpful. Also doing things like, you know, doing some healing on ourselves, hands-on healing on ourselves. Or if we need extra support where we're feeling called that I need to call on somebody else to assist me with this, then, you know, maybe try and book in with a healer to get some of that extra support, perhaps a distance healing, or, you know, being able to talk things out, or even talking things out with a friend to kind of just allow some of that to come up and out. Sometimes that's really important. That's what we need, is, you know, just to be able to release through speaking to somebody, you know, that trusted person, that we can just, yeah, let that come up and out. Can also be a powerful time to do some spell work around, you know, these focuses as well. So I do have a couple of spells up on the online Book of Shadows on Mystical's website. I have a forgiveness spell if you're feeling, you know, that forgiveness is a focus for you at the moment as part of that healing. I also have a self-love spell to help you put back into yourself, because sometimes that's what we, you know, we've got things that are blocking us from taking care of ourselves and doing some of that self-care. So that can be really important. And I also have a clearing fears and blockages spell as well. That's on the online Book of Shadows. So they might assist you on that level if you're looking particularly for doing some kind of spell. I like to focus essential oil wise. I find that rose or rose geranium are really great essential oils that assist on those healing levels, and, you know, around the heart and emotions. Bergamot is another beautiful one. I really love bergamot. That's got a nice gentle healing energy to it as well. And honestly, frankincense is one of those go-tos for all your healing work as well. So, you know, that would certainly work on that side of it too. So, you know, do know you can kind of focus on any of those if you're looking for perhaps an essential oil to reach for. On that level too, it's great to do meditation that's focused on healing around the heart, or perhaps focused on do some chakra rebalancing, because that's going to assist you in all that healing, you know, heart as well as mind, body and soul. So, you know, maybe make that some of your focus as well. And some of the divinities that you could call on to assist you on this level as well. Kuan Yin is definitely one of my go-tos for heart and healing. Such a gentle, beautiful energy. Mother Mary is another one that I've used for a long time. I find she's wonderful with that nurturing energy, that soft, gentle energy, looking after us. Rhiannon is a beautiful one for doing healing. She's quite a soft energy as well. She's got some real quite strong feminine energy, does Rhiannon as well. So if you kind of, you know, finding you're doing some healing and working out how to stand in your truth and stand in that strong feminine energy, Rhiannon can be a really good energy for that. And I find that particularly green Tara and and blue Tara are really lovely to work with as well on those healing heart kind of energies too. So that's some of the divinities you might want to, you know, work with or call on. And even, you know, simple processes like before bed, call on one of them that you're feeling drawn to and ask them to bring you healing while you sleep. That sounds so simple, but it can be really powerful and really effective. So, you know, think about little simple things that you can do like that. Maybe have one of the heart crystals beside your bed and just simply call on one of the divinities, and they'll come in and do some healing work with you. And especially remember, the more you connect with a certain divinity, the stronger that energy will tend to come through for you as well. So that can be very powerful. The last area that I wanted to quickly mention is that inspiration, imagination, visualization, and creative arts, because I kind of find that all kind of falls into the one box. So this is the perfect time to really kind of allow yourself to be creative, and this might connect for you into that self-care side of things as well. So, I mean, play music, dance, sing, paint, draw, pull out some of those arts and crafts that you've been wanting to do. You know, if you've been wanting to maybe work on a book of shadows that just looks gorgeous and amazing, this could be the time for you to tap into that energy, or create a wand, or you know, any kind of art or craft. If you're a knitter or whatever it is, this is the time that you could really focus some energy on doing that particular art, craft, creative side to you. Or even if it's something you've never tried before but you've really wanted to try, then perhaps this will be the time to have a go at that as well, with this beautiful Piscean moon that'll really support that kind of energy for you. Crystals that'll really work on that level, it's really good to focus on more of your yellow and orange crystals. They'll really kind of more tap into that creative side. So citrine is a favorite of mine. Carnelian is another favorite. Yellow calcite is another beautiful one on that level. But amethyst and iolite also work on those levels too, especially with that imagination side of things. They can be really lovely ones to work with as well if you want to. And this would, if you're wanting to work on that level, you might want to call on your creative muse to assist you with that. And I did mention about connecting with creative muse a few weeks ago, and I actually shared an invocation that I had written that you could use if you want something more formal to be able to say, to call in your creative muse. But it doesn't have to be anything that's formal at all. You could simply just kind of speak from your heart and ask for your creative muse to come in and connect with you and help to inspire you, or help you in the painting or the drawing or whatever it is that you are endeavoring to do. And they will certainly come in and connect and assist you with that. If you're more looking for a divinities that will connect on a creative level, I find it's usually the ones that connect with the fairies more than anything. So you can certainly call on the fairies, and also like energies like the dragons, but goddesses and divinities that particularly work with fae energy are going to be really good ones that assist us being creative and doing all that sort of wonderful stuff. So if you're looking for someone to call on, Anne or Una would be really great ones to call on. Like I said, any of them that connect with the fae. And I find citrus essential oils connect more on those creative levels. They really help to get us very open and vibrant and really uplift our energies. So if you're feeling a bit down, depressed or anxious, they can be good ones to burn or to use to really help to uplift and help you feel a little bit more vibrant and healthy and alive as well. So just a few thoughts of things that you might like to do. Plus, each full moon, the beautiful Laura from Amethyst Light Therapies always has her beautiful full moon meditations, which also has vocal toning, has got the beautiful crystal singing bowls as part of those meditations. They're really beautiful, and Laura always connects the focus for each meditation into the actual full moon. So she always has a focus with the Pisces full moon, for instance, with this coming one. So that will be held on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. They're online through Zoom. You do need to book. We have a Facebook event on Mystical Dragons page. It is also, you can find it on Mystical Dragons website as well to be able to book. So definitely that might be a way you'd like to connect with the full moon, where you know you've got someone guiding you with purpose to assist you with that connection. Yeah, thanks Fran. They are beautiful, aren't they? So that is the ideas that I had to share with you guys for this upcoming Piscean full moon energy. I really feel like it's going to be quite potent, and no, it's not a super full moon or any of that sort of stuff, although really soon we do have some eclipses and some super moons that will be coming up in the next few months, but not quite yet. But I always find these Piscean moons, you know, like I said, you don't feel grounded, more so than other full moons. So you know, if you're noticing that, that's okay. You might actually need to reach for some more grounding stones rather than crystals that are kind of helping to uplift you and connect you with that intuitive stuff. If you're finding you're just, you know, too off with the fairies and, you know, don't have your feet on the ground enough, maybe reach for something that's a little bit more grounding, like a smoky quartz or a black tourmaline, a black obsidian, an aragonite, you know, something that might help to put your feet a little bit on the ground if you're struggling on that level, which certainly can happen. I hope this has helped to inspire you, give you some ideas for this coming full moon. Hopefully you might find something nice that you'll do on the day. Remember that the energy will be potent not just on the day itself, but also it'll be extra potent the day before and also the day after. So, you know, do know that they will all, those 3 days will be good days to do any of your kind of spiritual work and your magical work as well. Harmony's just asked, because it's the end of the lunar year, does it make the Pisces full moon stronger? No, I don't find that necessarily makes it stronger. I just find that Pisces moon energy can be strong by itself. Like, it's one of those ones that's very potent in you know, helping you to feel very connected intuitively, and it can happen really naturally where you just find, you know, that there's a lot of intuitive stuff flowing through, like a lot of dream stuff that just happens very naturally. It kind of ramps up around that time. It's just that strong Piscean energy, I find. So no, not necessarily. Beautiful. Well, thank you all for joining me for tonight's Facebook Live. Like I said, I hope that it's helped to inspire you and that you do something wonderful at this full moon. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope we don't get too much bad weather over the weekend and we get to maybe get out for a few walks and enjoy some of this spring energy. To all of you that follow the witch path or the Wiccan path, wishing you a really beautiful, blessed Ostara for next week as well. I'm looking forward to the Ostara bunny coming to visit my son next week for spring equinox or Ostara. Sending out lots of love to everyone. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. Make sure to do some of that self-care. Whether or not you're making it a focus at the full moon, take care of yourselves. Sending out lots of love. Take care, everyone.